Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Philip.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. What are you drinking?
Spicy margarita, my
S-
favorite.
Spicy margarita with jalapenos, some red and some green, with a rim that I made. All right, my friends, we're gonna be making the spicy margarita now. I already put all the red and green jalapenos into the shaker just to save some time showing you guys me chopping all that up. Big blocks into the shaker and straight in with 2 ounces of your favorite Blanco tequila. Then you're going to go 1 full ounce of triple sec. You're then going to go another full ounce of simple syrup to bring some sweetness to the drink. You're then going to go in with 1 ounce of lime juice as well. Slam your shaker together and get to work. You really want to make sure you shake this one heavy to break all those oils and everything in the peppers down so that all that spice actually comes out and we actually get to have a spicy drink. But in doing so, you have to make sure you double strain because you don't want seeds or chunks or anything when you're enjoying the drink. So double strain, make sure to get all that lovely liquid in. Then we're going to garnish 3 jalapenos. And that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoy. A spicy margarita, according to Google, is the first spicy margarita at a Mexican slash Chinese fusion restaurant in Barrio Chino on Manhattan's Lower East Side.
Interesting.
There you go.
They're my favorite. I just started drinking them within the last year, but this one's really spicy.
Yeah, I added a lot of jalapeno.
Yeah,
I'm glad you like it though.
it's very good.
I'm definitely not a tequila person in general, nor a spicy drink person in general. So
No,
this is a
tequila's
different.
my go-to. So
Yeah. So Elizabeth,
yes.
what do you do? How do I know you? Tell me about you.
So we work at Cactus together.
Mm-hmm.
We started together because you DM me on Instagram. I forget what you asked. Something about studying for the 51 questions or something. I think that's what it was.
I mean at that point, I don't think we had anything assigned yet. It was the I think I asked you how much of the modules you were gonna do.
Oh, maybe it was that at
Yeah,
first.
because they were like, you need to have all the modules completed
Everything
before
finished.
the first day. We were like,
And
okay.
I was like, shit, that's a lot of stuff to know before we go in. And then we met up on the first day outside of Cactus before,
Yep.
which was good because I was very nervous to start,
Yep.
as you know.
What was your first impression of me when you saw me standing there in my dining room shirt?
I thought you were very nice. And I thought it was nice that you reached out because I don't think a lot of people would do that. I
Right.
would never do that. I'm too shy.
I remember I when I reached out, I was trying so bloody hard to not make it like a hitting on you situation.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want to know how seriously you're taking the fucking work modules. I'm not
Well, I
trying
was
to get
confused.
anything.
I was like, how did he know that we were working together? But then the email
Yeah.
obviously said our names.
I googled you and John, and I saw John had like 200 followers, was private. I had no mutuals, anything. Then I saw
We had a mutual.
we had some mutual,
Yeah.
and like you felt like you gave off the vibe. I was like, I feel like I know what kind of girl she is. I
Yeah.
feel like we could this could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Now Elizabeth, to get into it, you did something, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did something that is a general no-no.
Is it?
I mean, I would say that's the consensus.
That's what a lot of people say.
You went back to your ex.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Tell the class a little bit about how that began to transpire.
So me and my ex were together for 5.5 years. So we met in I was 15 when we met. And then we obviously dated all throughout high school and university a bit. And then I think just we weren't even long. I can't even call it long distance because it he was in Waterloo. I was at Waterloo for Laurier for a semester and then I dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
And then so we were doing long distance. It's not even long
Like a
distance.
medium distance.
Medium distance, but it was obviously still not easy. And then yeah, I think just mixed with the long distance and being together for so long, you almost want to, how do I say, figure out who you are, if that's the right way to say it.
Sure.
So we broke up for a year and then I think we just missed each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laughing because I know what you're thinking. Um, Yeah, I think, I don't know, when you're not together for a year and you do your own things and then you still want to be with that person, it's like, okay, clearly, like, I miss you. I've had my year. Did we do no contact the whole year? No. So I
Okay.
can't confidently say. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
We did it for like a couple of months, but it's hard when, he was like my best friend.
Hmm.
So when you're with someone and you talk every day for 5 years, it's hard to go from one extreme to another.
What was when you decided to end things the first time? What was the like make or break? Like, what was the thing that was like, okay, we need like what like happened that you guys were like, okay,
I
we need to do
think
something for ourselves for a while.
I think it was really mutual. Like we were on the same page. I think we were both just having these feelings and like questioning like is this what we want, but this is all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Like what if there's more out there? Not even like to experience other people or be with other people,
Mm-hmm.
but just to be on your own. Not that we were even like dependent on each other because I think we were very good at like we had the same friend group, but we were very good at not being like codependent on each other,
Right.
which is really good. But still, again, you're together 5 years. So I think it was just, we were together for so long. Maybe this time apart will be good for us. So I think that's like there was no
Was that
people.
how it was how it got was looked at when it ended? Like
Yeah.
those words were said?
Yeah, that's pretty much like because every time people ask me this, I'm like, there was nothing like there wasn't one thing. Like there was no cheating.
Yeah.
There was no like I hate you, you hate me. Like there was none of that.
Mm.
It was genuinely just like I think we just need time apart.
Is there would it be fair to say in some way, shape, or form it was like a very glorified, lengthy break where like you both kind of knew that one day you would find each other again, but
Yeah,
you needed a minute?
I think so. I think deep down, but I also didn't, and like I don't want to speak for him, but I think him too. Like we
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to. You can't live like that. Like you can't live
No.
like, oh, we're gonna get back together. We're gonna get back together.
I good. I was gonna give you shit if
Yeah,
that was the
no,
case. Yeah.
you can't. It's not gonna.
No.
Even though like you're heartbroken, you're sad. You're like, no, what if, what if? But
Mm-hmm.
I also can't live off of what ifs. So
That's a healthy way to look at that.
yeah,
Not a lot of people look at it that way. So from everything you've told me, communication and honesty has seemed to be a pretty vital, important, and stress thing between the two of you guys.
yeah,
Do you both know everything that one another had gotten up to in the year that you were apart?
yeah.
That
We
was
do.
a conversation.
That was a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think start fresh, and it came up, and what like you're not gonna lie and say nothing
No.
happened. We did have that conversation.
If something happened and you wanted to work out, you need
You
to
need.
say
I
it.
feel like because then what if something pops up later on when you're back together, and then it's like a whole thing
Or someone pops
or
up.
someone. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to go into too much detail about exactly what either of you got up to,
Mhm.
but from my understanding, on both of your parts, things happened.
Hmm.
Um, how has it been, and what have you done since that has kind of helped you navigate through the feelings of jealousy or maybe potential? And again, I don't know if you actually felt this necessarily, but a lack of trust afterwards, or a weary of like
Yeah.
well, you were able to find other people, so maybe we shouldn't to go back together. If you did it, if you managed to find another
Hmm.
girl to do whatever with, then why is this, or like all of that stuff, like
Yeah.
how have you guys navigated that to now be in a position where I assume at least you trust each other, are okay with each other,
Yeah.
and while acknowledging what has happened in both of your lives are able to continue on with one another?
Well, I'll start off by saying like none of us got into a full-on relationship
Mm.
in the year we were apart. Like
Okay.
I also think when you're together like when you're with someone for 5 years, it's for me at least, it's I can't just jump into like dating someone and getting into another
No.
relationship right away. It's not fair to the person that I will be dating next because I'm still healing from my breakup.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I heard a quote one time, or like a rule where it was, you have the same amount of months as you to get over them as you had years with them.
Yeah.
So if you date someone for 5 years, you have 5 months where no one can give you shit. And then after that 5 months, if you're just like, I'm not ready yet, then people can give you shit about it.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah. I don't think I agree.
I don't agree. I don't.
Knowing my history, no chance.
Oh my God, that was like spicy and it went down the wrong too. I think even just like, even the first month after we broke up, like we were still talking.
Yeah.
So there's 1 month out the door, like here and there we would talk. I think near that, closer to like the second half of the year, we weren't talking.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, none of us got into another relationship. There was never a lack of trust. Like I've never not trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
I trust him with my life. Like when we were together before, now, regardless of what's happened, like I've never once been like, I don't trust you. Which is good.
That is a very good thing.
It was definitely a hard conversation to have. I think, especially because for both of us, like we were each other's everything, like first everything. We were, the only people we've ever been with. So it's a hard pill to swallow to hear like what I did, what he did. It's hard for both of us. It wasn't an easy conversation. I don't think either of us expected it to be as hard as it was to hear. I wouldn't say there's any like jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, obviously everybody gets a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself and I don't consider him like a jealous person, because I think at the end of the day, it's like I try to look at it as like, okay, whatever happened, but one, we were single, so there's one thing.
And I assume that no one from your side of things and no one from his side of things are currently in your lives.
Oh yeah, none from like my side.
Yeah.
There is on his side, but it's more of just like a friend group situation.
And you trust him.
And I trust him, so it's not like an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's on both ends. It's just a weird thing to talk about. Like,
of course,
no one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
And I also think I try to look at it as like at the end of the day, like we want each other, and that's that. Like at the end of the day, you want to be with me, I want to be with you. So nothing else should matter.
Mm-hmm.
Even though obviously sometimes here and there it does, and it can cause problems, obviously, because it's just a sore subject, like it would in any situation or relationship. But
there's like what you said there that I really liked was, I want to be with you and you want to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think people get so, and I myself included, you said you're not a jealous type. I know myself, I am a jealous type, 100%. But people get so caught up in the, oh, like I don't want them doing this or that because like I'm worried what other people will try to do, or I'm worried that she's going to cheat on me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, first of all, if you're worried your girl's going to cheat on you, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Immediately. Second of all, if she does cheat on you, she wasn't for you, dude.
That's my thing. And
she
like,
never was.
I try to say it as like, whether I tell him, don't do this, don't do that, send me your location, this, that. At the end of the day, if they're going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you, whether you have their location, whether, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And wouldn't you rather know that they're going to cheat? Like, I don't know, like, you
they
can't live
cheat
like
on
that.
You, the sooner they're out of your life and you
That's
can move
what
on.
I mean. And obviously, I've never been cheated on, so like,
Nor have I.
it's easy for me to sit here and like say shit like that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, if they're gonna cheat on you, and if you're gonna cheat on me, then I don't know. Go ahead. Like, okay, I'll move on with my life.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. It's
hurt. Gonna suck for sure. And again, I'm saying that I've never been cheated on. I don't know what it's like. I have friends who've been cheated on, and it breaks my heart for them. But in like, for me personally, like, I don't know, just like sitting there and being like, don't, like, I'm not one to be like, don't do this, don't do that. You can't, like, what's that? What good is that gonna do? Yeah. I'm not controlling like that. I can't be.
Well, I was talking to in one of the other episodes about this, how the difference between being toxic and setting boundaries
very different
is being willing to leave.
Yeah.
That's like my quote of the week, where it's like, hey babe, I don't like it when you do this, this, and this. You tell them. You say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And if they go, thank you for telling me, I appreciate that, I'll try and make you feel better, and they do, sick.
But if they continue to act in a way that you don't like after you told them, you have two options. You get toxic and you get controlling, or you go,
Or you leave.
okay, you're not respecting my boundaries. You're doing things I don't appreciate. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
People are really good at respecting their boundaries when they get cheated on, but they're
Yeah.
really bad at it when they ask their partner to do things that, or to stop doing things that make them happy / don't make them unhappy.
It's a
right?
respect thing.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. So a friend of mine is he's a little bit he can tend to be a little bit extra when it
Okay.
comes to his views on dating and masculinity and relationships and all of it. And he's very much on the side of, if you're dating a girl and she leaves or you break up or whatever, she's done. She's out of your life. It's over. Move on and never let her back.
And a lot of people are very cutthroat like that.
Yeah, and to the point where like there have been people in my life that I haven't necessarily dated, but like have been involved with for one way or another. Then life has a way. You don't see each other, and then you both go do whatever, and then you come back X amount of time later, and then you have the opportunity again. My friend would be like, no, absolutely not.
I have a funny story.
Fantastic.
Oh.
No, please. My friend would be like, no, like don't even think about it. Don't even give it the time of day. She basically made a point saying earlier that she didn't want you then. Yeah, now she's ready for you. She didn't deserve you then, or if she doesn't deserve you now, if she didn't want you then, kind of thing, right? And I agree with him to an extent, but I also do think that people grow and situations change, and it also depends on like the severity of how close / how like serious you were when things first happened versus what happened in the middle and what they're showing you now.
Yeah. Like,
Which-
I was
No,
going
no,
to tell
no,
my
no,
story.
yeah.
So in high school, I had a friend, her and her boyfriend like broke up. She wanted to get back together with him, whatever. And I was always a firm believer in like getting back together with your ex is like, no, until I was that person. Yep. So it's like, here I am talking, and now look at me, I'm back together with my ex. But I think my relationship with my ex was serious. We were in high school, so as serious as it can be in high school, but we'd also been through so much together, and not in a bad way, in like a good way. He was like a part of my family, like very, very close. And also when we broke up, I personally was going through a lot that I just needed to figure out on my own. So that also played a role in like why we broke up. And he was very heavily involved in like a big shift in my life. So I don't know, like it's just funny how in high school I was like, no, like if we ever break up, like absolutely not.
Yep.
And then here I am, guilty.
Do you believe in right person, wrong time?
You know, I see that a lot, and I like if you're on TikTok and you read comments and you listen to people's like point of view. I think it's hard because people are like, if it was the right person, there is no wrong time.
I agree with that. Yeah, sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say, but I think it can be the right person, but wrong time in the sense of like maybe you just aren't ready yet, and I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. I think a lot of times people use right person, wrong time as an excuse when the relationship just really wasn't that good. Yeah. And then they're like, I'm at a time in my life that I want to do this and I want to do that. It's like, no, bitch, you just didn't like me that much. Yeah. Like there's a TikTok
There's audio. A difference.
There's a difference in what we just said.
Yeah.
But you know that there's a TikTok audio. It's like, you weren't the right person at the wrong time. You just didn't like me that much.
I've never seen that.
It's a funny audio.
It's funny though.
And it's true. Like one of my exes told me that I was right person, wrong time for her because we met very, very short after she had broken up with her previous ex.
And I believe in that though. Oh wait, I don't know. Finish your story.
But like looking back on it, I wasn't the right person at the wrong time. She just didn't like me that much. Not that she doesn't like me, or like if like we like there weren't feelings there, but I'm pretty sure that all things considered, was really just a rebound. And I kind of figured that out eventually, and then I stopped like being like, there was nothing wrong, like it was perfect, blah blah. And then I was like, no, she just
didn't like
she didn't like you that much. With that said, she'll still hit me up occasionally to this day, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, how you doing? But
It's funny.
other times I do believe that it can be true.
It's circumstantial.
Yeah, but like more so in a way of like, let's take a person who was in my life very recently that you're aware of.
Okay.
If I had met that person 4 years ago, we would have never spoke. She would have never given me the light of day. She would never give me an ounce of attention. The person that I was, where I was with myself at that time, she would have just not given a shit about that guy.
Yeah.
And that guy needed girls not giving a shit about him to grow up and become who I am now, and to have been the right guy at the wrong time, whatever, and have gone through everything that I've gone through to when I did meet her, for her to think that I was attractive. But then you continue on that path, and now I would say that in another way, which has nothing to do with an attraction thing, but in a plethora of ways, it's still not the right time. And then, but at the end of the day, if you keep re-meeting someone throughout your entire life, and it's never the right time,
at what point do you cut it off?
At what point do you like, okay, it's just it's not about timing. It's just me and you don't work.
Yeah, I agree.
But there are stories of like guy and a girl meet when they're 18. They date throughout high school, break up because they go to different universities.
Yeah.
Re-meet when they're 30, and then they end up getting married and live happily ever after.
Great.
And it's great. So in that sense, yeah, very much so. They just needed to live their lives before re-meeting. But like, if it happens like that, is it really about a timing thing, or is it more of just like the people that you are when you meet aren't compatible?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I think a mix of both. Because timing, technically the timing, they were young. They're more, but then it's also who you are. You're more mature now. You're ready for a more like mature relationship.
Yeah. But if you're both equally immature,
that's true.
Why can't you grow together?
Yeah. Some people need to grow alone though.
You're right. Unfortunately, and this has been a trend of my entire life, I have historically, like, I think in general women mature way faster than men. Yeah. But personally speaking, I feel like a lot of the women that, at least that I'm around on a regular basis, to me feel immature to me. And I don't know if I'm an old man or if I'm
old man at heart.
Yeah, I'm an old man at heart. If I'm like, but like all of the things that like a lot of people that are in our age group are into, like going clubbing, going to bar. I mean, okay, I like going to bars. Yeah. I like going to like a bar where I can sit down, try a cool cocktail.
You're more like casual.
Yeah, and like, is 23 too young for that?
Did you party a lot in high school? Because a lot of people, if they party a lot in high school, got it out of their system.
I partied a lot when I was 18.
And that's the thing, like, you got it out of your system.
Yeah.
Like, you're done with it. You're more, honestly, like, I'm kind of the same. Like, don't get me wrong, I can go to a club and have a good time.
Listen, if I'm a homebody at heart, people, like once every like 6 months, once a year, whatever, right people, right club, right music, I could get down.
Yeah.
But like, people that are going out like multiple times a week, going out every weekend, I'm like, how are you? What are you enjoying about this?
Yeah, like me and my roommates went out a lot in the summer. Like we just moved to Toronto. Like we went out and it was super, super fun. We don't go out as much anymore, but I think if it's new to people, it's always. I think to me, as long as I'm with the right people, I could do the same thing every weekend, and it's fun every weekend. It's the people I'm with for me personally.
Yeah, you also have excuse me, the added benefit of being a woman, so you can afford to do it every
Yeah.
weekend. If I had to fucking buy a booth every weekend,
It's expensive. It's different.
Jesus Christ. I also like I Lily, before I was 19, I hit the point with clubbing that I was like, if I don't have a booth, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And being a girl, you can show up and be like, "Can I come in your booth?"
Yeah.
Sure,
They'll
guys.
just be like, come on in.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Fucking hate it. Oh.
That's fine.
I don't even want it. I went to Petty Cash not too long ago. I was in there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go. I don't want to be here
Yeah.
anymore. Like,
I think I've been to Petty Cash twice, maybe 3 times. No, I think like twice. It's not my favorite.
it's all right, but like all those places, like I just have, unless you're like, and like I don't want to be I don't think I'm the kind of person that's like I need to be drunk to have fun, because I don't really specifically enjoy getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But like with clubbing, if I'm not drunk, then I'm just not going to enjoy it, and not because I'm just like I would need to get.
It's
hammered.
a different scene though.
Yeah,
because
you
it's very
need to
hard.
be hammered to be in that.
It's very
environment.
hard when you're clubbing to be the only sober person there.
Yeah,
When everybody's on like a completely different level. It's
and
hard.
just standing in like the middle of a dance floor, just being like, yeah, to
No.
EDM. I'm losing it.
Or if you go out after work and like everybody's like on this one level and I'm like, I'm exhausted from work, like I can't get on your level. I'm
No.
too far behind.
That's another thing. Like I old man at heart. Like I don't have it in me to like be like, okay, work's done.
Same.
First of all, my back hurts. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just work 10 hours. Like I want to go lie down.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't want to be like, oh, work's done. All right, 10 shots of tequila to the dome
can't.
right now. Let's
Also,
hype it
like
up.
my social battery is just done.
By that time, absolutely
I can't.
drained.
I just can't, like, even just to have a conversation after work. I'm drained.
I can't. I like it. That I love. I love finish work. You guys want to grab a drink?
That's different because we're all together. So if we all want to sit in silence for
Yeah.
5 minutes or 20, whatever,
Have a
it's
drink.
fine because we're all exhausted.
Recap the day.
Yeah, the shift, whatever. But
Whatever it is.
if I go out with my friends after work, let's say, and I'm the only one that's just like not
Yeah.
not talking, but I'm just
A little more
exhausted.
low-key.
I feel bad, but I'm exhausted. So
That's fair. Cycling it back.
Yeah.
Away from clubbing. What do you like as someone who has gone back to their ex? What would you believe the like, if you want this to work, you need X, Y, and Z, and it'll never work unless you get rid of A, B, and C, if that makes sense.
that's a good question. Communication, number one.
Needs to be kept, obviously.
Needs to be kept,
Yeah.
100%.
Get rid of communication.
No.
Can't have that.
Needs to be kept 100%. Like being open and honest with like how you're feeling,
Mhm.
whether you've brought it up one time, 100 times. Like,
One more time.
yeah. Definitely keep that honesty. I think that goes hand in hand with like communication.
Mhm.
Just being honest. Like, I think a big thing was what didn't work. Because I think you can't just jump back into your relationship and be like, okay, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be like last time. It's not. Like, you need what didn't work in our last relationship that we need to change. What can I do better? What can you do better? Like, I think that is such an important conversation to have, because things aren't going to be how they were. You've
Of
changed.
course.
Me personally, like, I'm not the same person I was when we broke up. Like,
No.
I've changed completely within the year. So yeah, and it's learning. You're also learning about each other again.
Which is like fresh, which is cute.
It's fun. You're like, oh, like you picked up this hobby. It's also kind of sad in the way of it's like,
you missed this year of your
oh,
life.
I missed that. Like, I didn't know, like, you started playing guitar. I didn't know you
Yeah.
do this now, whatever.
So when it's like running into an ex after a few years, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, like
Introducing them to the new friends you've made. Like my ex had this one friend that he made, and it was weird because it's like, I know all your friends. I don't know this one. And it's just like a weird feeling. And same with him. Like when I talk about like you, or like when he met John, like it's weird because it's like, I know you guys, I've known you guys, but he doesn't.
yeah,
So it's like, you know what I mean?
yeah. It's like running into someone you were close with in high school.
Yeah.
It's like I ran into this girl who I think I last time I saw her was like end of the first lockdown. Like
Yeah.
I was working at my last job, or no, I lied. I was working at my bakery job still.
Mhm.
So this is going on like 3-4 years ago. Um, Working at the bakery job, making some coffees, and I see her, and like she was never a big girl at all, but like she was like a very like average weight, and I looked at her and I was like, she you could tell Shawty had been in the gym, like
Yeah.
she looked really good,
Mhm.
and I was like, Isabella, and she was like, Philip, and I was like, you look great, and she was like, I'm like, have you been working out? And she was like, I have, and we chatted, and it was nice seeing her, but
Mhm.
like the not seeing someone for a few years, like I was
Yeah.
like, you look like a different human.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird.
and then I was at Cactus 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I hear Philip, and I look, same girl, looked pretty similar to how I remember her, but I look a whole lot different than the last
Yeah.
time she saw me. And she was like, you look so good. She's like, did you get taller? And she was like, have you been working out? I was like, yes and yes. And then she was like, and you have tattoos now? I was like, right, yeah,
Yeah.
you missed that chapter. And she was like, it's a really good look for you, and like caressed my arm. And I saw two of our managers like looking at me like from the corner of my eye, like, hmm. And then I was like, yeah, blah blah blah. She's like, we should totally hang out. And I was like,
Sure.
noted. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Said like I think I heard it was her brother's birthday or something. Said like happy birthday. Left, and then the two managers came up to me. They're like, who was that
Who's
girl?
that?
Who was that girl? And I was like, girl from high school. They were like, she was being a little touchy feely with you. And I was like, mm.
Yeah.
Turns out Sel has a boyfriend. So if you're watching this,
You just threw that under the bus.
cheers to that. I mean, listen, there's no way in hell this will ever. There was not enough information given that it would get back to Buddy. But cheers to them. But yeah, that was just a girl that I went to high school with that I was
Yeah.
friends with, but nothing like
So you can imagine someone who
you spent every day with.
yeah, and like you know everything about this person, and now it's like you're learning little things or like even noticing different things about their personality that like they didn't have before.
Mm.
So I think it's exciting, but it's weird, and it in a weird way it not hurts. That's not even the right word, but it's just like oh like
It's almost like a
bittersweet.
there's preemptive and what postemptive. I don't know. That's the right way to say that. Like there's almost like a bit of FOMO.
Yeah,
Where
that's a good way to
you're
say
like,
it.
I wish I could have been there to
Yeah.
see that happen.
And I think it was hard too. Like, we had a lot of the same friends. Like, when we broke up, a lot of his friends I didn't like talk to anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
yeah, I think like two of them I kept talking to. Like, a lot of friends that we had, like just
Yeah,
like I don't know, just stop talking.
like it's
It's a hard situation.
it kind of has to happen.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
but I like like you still see him everywhere. Like you see him on like people's pictures and everything. So it's hard, and it's like I don't know what you're doing, but I see you in this picture. Like
Listen, I'm team block him. I've always been team block him. I've been team block him and unfollow the friends.
and that's what a lot of people were saying. I think for me, it was a mix of like I want to know what you're doing.
No, of course, you always want.
Yeah.
There's a reason that I follow every single girl that I've slept with on Instagram still.
Yeah, you want to know what they're doing, and a mix between like I don't hate, like there's no hate, there's no like I don't want to block you, like, but can you be friends with your ex? Again,
Absolutely.
circumstantial,
No,
but
the
I
answer-
don't think so.
The answer is no. The answer is fully no.
So yeah.
Even like okay, ex, no, straight up no, I don't care. Ex situationship, no asterisks,
Yeah.
because it really depends on A, how serious it was,
Yeah.
B, how long it was,
Mhm.
how deep the feelings went, and when you say friends, what do you
What
mean?
does that mean? Yeah.
Like if you mean friends as if like we're in the same friend group we'll see each other we'll see each other once in a while at like group settings, and we're cordial, everything's fine. Sure, yeah, you can be friends. You can keep them in your. You don't gotta unfollow them on Instagram necessarily.
Yeah.
Friends in the way of like hanging out all the time.
But we didn't even hang out because distance, which.
Yeah, but I mean, but you did. How many months of that year do you think you went consistently without speaking or like having an interaction at all?
It was on and off. So in the beginning,
what was the longest stretch?
Maybe 4 months.
You think?
Maybe 3 months. I think 4 is a stretch. 3, I think. And in those 3 months, like, I felt good. Like, the 2 roommates that I have right now, they helped me a lot through my breakup. Like, we went out, like, and obviously my other, like, I have 3 other friends. Honestly, all my girlfriends helped me a lot during my breakup. Like, they were really there for me and definitely made it easier to like manage, take my mind off of it.
You need friends there.
Yeah.
You need a support system.
Yeah, like one of my friends, like I'll give her my life. Like she was just there for me, like listen to me talk about it and over and over. And not once did she say you need to get over it. It was like I'm here to listen, like what's up? Like you know what I mean? I say my 2 roommates now, obviously we lived together, so the whole summer we were going out. Yeah. It was nice to just like get out and like have a good time. Yeah. You know?
With Jacob was definitely there for me to just listen to everything that I ever had to say. And I had another friend at the time who listened to a lot of me, but he did say to me at one point, like, buddy, you need to get over it. Like you need to figure it out. And
I think girls are different though.
I mean, okay,
emotion.
Like, I'm not really friends with this guy anymore, unfortunately. And not for that reason, but just kind of the way life happens. But the unfortunate thing is, like, I agree with him to an extent. Like, you're right. Like, I did need to get over it. Like,
because you feel like you're being, like, I felt like I was being annoying. Like, I would literally say to them, like, I'm tired of talking about it because I feel like I'm being so annoying, but I can't keep it in. Like, I don't know what to do.
But that's the other thing. I agree. It was time for me to get over it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't.
Yeah.
I would have much preferred him say, like, hey, man, we need to get you over this.
Yeah.
Let's try some things. Let's see what we can do to help help you out here.
Which I'm thankful for, because not one of my girlfriends ever said, like, you need to get over it. Like, it was like, we're in this together. Like, every single one of my girlfriends, I can confidently say, help me get through that breakup. And, like, we're there for me. Like, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I would have done.
I think having a support system and knowing and just reminding yourself that there's another life out there.
Yeah.
There's another 1,000 fish in the millions of fish in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw this fantastic tweet today. Kanye posted a photo of his new wife. And
he's married?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I. Shadi suspiciously looks like Kim.
K.
Well, that's how you say it, not Kim. Kim K and Sophia Fox, like in the same
Julia
way.
Fox.
Whoa. Yep.
Okay, tuber.
me and pop culture. Looks suspiciously like the both of them, in the way of like slim, thick, massive ass, massive tits, whatever. She's more on like the light skin side of things, but like suspiciously looks like every other woman he's been affiliated with, right? And the guy just quoted it and said, "Wow, Kanye was really right when he said there's 1,000 yous and only one of me." And I was funny. Like, that's funny. But in the same way that, like, no, there's like, I mean, Kanye is definitely gonna be the one and only Kanye, because fuck Kanye.
And I get there's other people out there, but it's like, I don't want other people.
Of course, because you're in a happy relationship.
You like who you like.
You like who you like, always. But with that said, when who you like is no longer an option, it's a good reminder of being like, there's gonna be more. I wanted to put that on silent. But that's break time, ladies and gentlemen. So please enjoy this word from our sponsors. And if I don't have a sponsor, it's going to be a real quick break on your side of things. You just wanted to do it.
I just like doing it. It's fun. Okay, wait. Let me move this down here. How did I have it before? Did I have it like that?
Around there.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're back. All right. I'm not 100% sure where we left off, but I don't think it was like a super like
I don't think it
strong
was.
point that we were going off
No.
of. Long story short, I think we can make from the original point is getting back together with your ex situationship, whatever it may be,
It's fine. Sometimes.
is fine with context.
Yes.
But don't be Delulu.
Circumstantial.
If they were bad to you 2 years ago, they're probably still going to be bad to you now,
Yes.
right?
I agree.
If you broke up for a valid reason because someone
Mhm.
was mistreating you, keep them in the past.
Yes.
One of you. Oh, I don't know. I didn't freeze. I was just really still. That's hilarious. There's only one of you. There's thousands of them. Thank you, Kanye.
Retweet.
Yeah, just as long as there's respect, communication, and
As long as you're happy.
as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless your boy comes up to you and he goes, "As long as you're happy, bro," because
Yeah.
he does not approve.
No.
Never. If one of my friends ever came, if I showed my friend a girl and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, what do you
As
think?"
long as you're happy.
And he was
Or
like,
they
"Bro,
go
as
like,
long as you're
if
happy,
you like her.
if you like her,
I'm
if
like,
you think so."
Yeah. Yikes.
No, my biggest fear is my girl showing me to her friends and her going, "He looks better in person."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But my problem is, I think I genuinely do think I'm cuter in person.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys, like their Instagrams or whatever, they're just like not good.
Mm.
So it's like, you know, they look
You want to
better
do
in person.
you want to do a photo shoot day with me and my friends,
Sure.
or at least me and Jacob. Me and Jacob need some new inspiration.
Sure.
Lovely.
I'm not very photogenic, but sure.
Hey, listen, you just gotta make us look really good.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Fantastic.
Got you.
Pivoting, and it's gonna be a little bit of a hard pivot.
That's okay.
You unfortunately lost your father.
I have a nervous smile, so if I'm smiling
No,
a lot,
listen.
I'm not a psychopath.
When I got into a car accident a few years ago, I was laughing my ass
Yeah.
off. Like I almost died, and I was like,
Yeah.
You lost your father when you were younger.
Yes.
How old were you?
18, and then a week later I turned 19. So a week before my 19th
A week
birthday.
before your 19th birthday, right? And you, for context, are 21 now.
22.
22
Yes.
now. I thought aren't you an 02?
01.
Wow.
Yeah.
More you know. So it's been about 2 years.
Philip.
You said it, but a week before your 19th birthday, you're 21. No, you're 20. Wow.
It's
wow.
been almost 5. It happened in 2019. Or 2000. Yeah.
Hold on.
2019.
Then you went into. When's your birthday?
Oh my god, a week before my 18th birthday.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like.
Sorry.
Okay,
week before my, okay.
We're both gonna take a minute. Figure out math.
Are we gonna
Math
redo
is
that
hard.
part?
No. No, we're not actually gonna redo. We're gonna take a minute. Math, hilarious. Okay.
Sorry, that was my
A
fault.
week before your 18th birthday, you are now 22.
Yes.
So it's almost been 5 years.
Almost been 5 years.
Okay.
Yes.
How, like, what was your process? How did you, what was like your initial feelings to
Mhm.
then your grieving process?
Yeah.
And then further, like what was that like for you?
So I have never experienced the death of somebody close to me in my life ever. Like none of my grandparents. Okay, wait, knock on wood, but like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I have never experienced that. Even with like friends, I've never had friends who lost parents. I've had friends who lost like grandparents, but I think the only experience I had was in elementary school. A guy I went to elementary school with lost his mom. We were in like grade 5. And it was it was like, oh, whatever. Like, not whatever, but that'll never happen to me. It's definitely like one of those things you never think it's going to happen to you until it does.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on my way to school, like, getting ready, and my dad worked from home, and he was in the office, and he was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. But he was like very chill. And we were making fun of him. We're like, okay, whatever, chew 2 aspirins, whatever. But we still called 911.
Yeah.
They made him go on the stretcher. I have a video of him going on the stretcher, we're laughing. We're like, you're so dramatic, whatever. So they take him to, is in Newmarket, South Lake. And he was there for about 2 days, fine. Like, they're like, okay, yeah, mini heart attack, you're good. We just want to run some tests. I think he was there for like 2 days. And then I still went to school. Like, I didn't really tell anyone because I was like, we were all like, it's nothing. I think, I don't know, I've heard of guys in their like 40s having heart attacks. Like,
and discharge after 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at the mall with my friend, and this was in June. So this was like May 28th, like end of May. I was at the mall with my friend after school. I get home and I get a call, and they were like, hey, like, you should come to the hospital. And I was like, okay, like, and I went frequently, but he was in like emerge, so you can't just sit there. Like, my mom could stay with him, but you can't have like the whole family there.
Right.
So I start freaking out a bit, and I was like, I don't think I can drive right now. So my uncle drove me to the hospital, and they were like, you know, like, it's just not really looking good. So then we went to go see him. He was put in a room because they were going to transfer him to St. Mike's, which is down here.
Yeah.
And we get back in there. His blood pressure was really high, everything. And he started saying like, goodbye to us. Like, you know, like, I love you guys, whatever. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? My dad started crying, and my dad doesn't cry. Like, he didn't cry. So it was one of the first times probably the second time I saw him cry, maybe third in my life. And me and my dad were very close. Like, I was closer with him, I think, growing up than I was with my mom. Like, I was a soccer player, so we'd go to tournaments together. Like, he really was, like, school, everything. Like, my dad was my best friend. So I just kind of didn't believe it. I was like, what's going on? But then when I saw him cry, I don't know, I'm a believer in, like, the person it's happening to must know something's not right. So pretty much what happened is they went to do an angiogram for his heart, and he stopped the nurse, and he was like, no, like, something's wrong. Like, I don't feel good. Like, you can't do the angiogram. And she was like, you're fine, you're fine. He was like, no, I'm not fine. Like, something's wrong. Turns out his brain was bleeding. So if they did the angiogram, it would have killed him instantly. So they're like, we don't have the, I guess, doctors or whatever, we're transferring you. So when we were saying bye to him, his blood pressure was rising. They didn't want that. They wanted to keep it low. So they were like, you guys need to leave. So that was the last time I saw my dad conscious. And then they transferred him to the hospital at St. Mike's. We all drive down. He was in the ambulance with my mom, and, you know, he started forgetting his name. He started forgetting who my mom was. Like, it was just like one extreme to the other within days. And my dad was like, he smoked, but he was like a healthy guy in his 40s. Like, this was the most random thing ever. And I think the frustrating thing, a couple of days before, I had a soccer game, and he didn't come because he had a headache. But we were like, okay, he was working a lot. Like, it's a headache. You don't think anything of it. Meanwhile, you come to find out his brain had been bleeding for 2 days before he had the heart attack. So there's two things happening at once. So we get to St. Mike's, and they had to put him into a coma because he was just like freaking out, as anybody would. Yeah. And I think as soon as we go to St. Mike's, I knew. I was like, okay, like, this is it. Like, you know? Whereas my sister is very much like, he'll make it out, like, it's fine. Like, whereas I'm more of a realist. I'm like, okay, like, this is it, whatever. Doctor came, and he was like, you know, like, this is the situation. It's not looking good. We're going to keep him in the ICU. He was in the ICU for 2 weeks. This is all in grade 12. So exam season, prom, like, everything. And now I'm telling my friends, obviously, like, my teachers, and everyone's like, what the fuck's happening? Like, it was just like a really, like, holy shit. And it's just one of those things, and this might be bad for me to say, but St. Mike's is love the great doctors, like, can't shit on the doctors, but the people, some of them were sketchy, like, a lot of homeless people, but a lot of people, like, handcuffed to the bed, like, just like the floor he was on. And I think a hard thing for me to accept was, like, how are people that are, like, homeless and that are just, like, or maybe that are bad people, because there was some people in there that were in there for like fucked up shit. It's like, how are you fine? And my dad, who's like the best person in the world, is in like the worst situation, and I have to see him like this. Like his head was shaved, like tubes everywhere. Like it's something that you never forget. Like it's so I didn't want to go to prom, anything. Everybody was like, "You're going," like, you know. And at my and a lot of people were, "He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine." And me and my mom were like, we would like talk one on one. We're like, "This is it. Like, we know." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. I don't talk about this
good.
a lot. But went to prom. So this is now, oh, I think it's like into June. And then we had a dog at home. So because I think I was more of like the, you know, like I would go in when the doctors were talking, I would take notes, I would tell people. I think I took on more of that like role because my sister is just very emotional. Like she can't do it. And my mom obviously is not in that headspace. So I think I just got pushed into that, like, okay, you need to step up, pay attention. What are they saying? Everything. So my mom's like, can you go home? Just make sure everything's fine. Did I want to leave? No, but I'm not going to look at my mom and make it hard because my sister wouldn't leave. So I go home. My boyfriend at the time, current boyfriend now, I don't think he slept over that night. I told him not to. And I was in my bed and my aunt woke me up, and that's like just when like I knew. I was like, okay, like this is it. But no one would tell me. And you just get that like gut feeling like, okay, like this. No one had to tell me. And I think, again, like I knew from day one that it wouldn't be good. So I got to the hospital, and then the nurses were like, the other side of his brain started bleeding, and they were trying to drain his brain from all the blood, but he was on so many blood thinners from the heart attack, his brain wouldn't clot. So it was just like two things happening at once, like the two worst things at once. So they were like, we can do surgery, and if he survives it, he can't eat, he can't walk, he can't talk, nothing, or we pull the plug pretty much. And how do you look at 2 kids and a wife and say pick one? And it's like my dad was a very much like quality of life person, and I don't blame him. Who would want to live like that? Like it's just for him personally. Like I don't want to speak for others, but it's just for him. And he wouldn't want to see his kids go through that. So we were just like, pull the plugs. We had been living at the hospital for 2 weeks now. Like clearly and they even said the chances of him surviving the surgery is like slim to none. So they sit you down in the room. Do you want to donate organs? And it's just one of those things that it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, is this real life? Yeah. And even like my friends were like, what the fuck? Like, I think I like blacked out, honestly, like a lot of that.
For all of it to happen within like what, like a 3-week span?
Yeah. From, let's say, May 28th to June 11th when he passed. And there was never a day of good news. Because even when they're like, oh, he's doing a little bit better, it's like, no, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing, okay, maybe like, but he was in critical condition. Like, it's something like, and it sucks that that's the last image I have of him. You know what I mean? But what are you going to do? But yeah, so pulled the plug, and that was that. It was definitely hard because, you know, the body makes like weird noises when they pull the plug. So it was like, he was like, it almost sounded like a snore. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. My sister and mom were like freaking out, and like the nurse was like massaging his throat because it's like air pretty much coming out of his body in a sick and twisted way. It sounded like he was snoring, and I tried to find comfort in it because I could hear his voice through it in a way. But it's an unpleasant because he's moving, so it's like, wait, maybe he's not. But he went within maybe 5 minutes, which the nurse was like, he was ready, because sometimes it takes hours. He was gone in minutes, so it's kind of like he was ready. We made the right decision, obviously. Yeah, that was a lot.
No, thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry that happened to you. I mean, we've talked about this before, but
Mm-hmm.
once again, um, one thing you said was for it to go like there's there's no one that could ever be prepared.
No.
That everything's perfectly fine one day. 2 weeks later, you're being asked if you would be okay with having their organs donated. Like that's something that no child should ever a choice that no child should ever have to make about one of
No.
their parents.
And I think it's hard, just like the unknown. Like to this day, we don't know, like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
He was healthy. Even the doctors were trying for a long time after, and the doctors were great. Like my dad's best friend, like, knew, like, one of the doctors, whatever. Like we had a really good doctor, like one of the best. And even he was like, I don't know why this is happening.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, again, you never think it's going to happen to you until it does.
Yeah.
And for it to go from like one extreme to another in 2 weeks while like I'm in school, it's my grade 12 year, I'm graduating, like all this stuff, and here I am, you know, I'm going to university in September. I was going to Laurier, like all this stuff, but like the worst thing in my opinion and in my experience on this earth that happened.
Yeah. And you're right, like the saying about why are these people who may necessarily be good people get to live and this wonderful human has to suffer the consequences. Looking back on it now, are you happy that you went to prom? Because from what it sounds like, you did go.
I did go. I'm happy I went because I didn't go to my prom cottage. It was after my dad had passed, but I was like, I'm not going. I think I'm happy I went. Looking back at the time, did I want to be there? No. And I'm not someone who talks about my emotions. So at prom, everybody obviously knew my situation. And having people come up to you and go, how are you? Like that sad smile. It's just like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's with the best intentions.
Absolutely. Like there's no malintention, but for me, it's like, try to have the one night. I didn't drink or anything at my prom either. I left pretty early because my mind isn't at prom.
Yeah.
You know, but I went because my mom really wanted me to go, and like all my dad's friends were like pushing me to go. Like, so I went.
It's good. I mean, for whatever it means, I'm glad you went.
Yeah.
And I think I want to believe anyways that I think your dad would have been really happy.
Yeah, I
that
think
you
so
went as
too.
Well. So after that happens, obviously the next like few days to week is probably, as one expects, like rough, shambolic, etc. But what is the next 3 weeks, 3 months, year afterward? Like how did you get to where you are now through that when you had to deal with something as traumatic and unfortunate as almost a fresh 18-year-old?
Yeah, I honestly think again, like I said, blacked out a lot of that whole summer. I had my boyfriend was there for me. Like I probably don't know if I would have gotten through it as well as I did without him. Like he was really, like, even his whole family, like my best friends, like they were really there for me, which I'm really lucky. I had a really good support system, but it was hard going from, you know, like I would make my dad his coffee in the morning, like before work, and like you talk to him every day, like joke around, like it was just such a, I think, in denial, shock. And again, like I'm not someone who talks about my emotions, so I didn't really cry. I wanted to be strong in front of my mom, so I didn't really cry. And my friends made a comment like, girl, like what's going on, like you're not. And I'm just like, you know, like a loss for words, I think. And then I ended up going back to work. I just forced myself to go back to work, I think in like July. distraction. And then I was off to Laurier, and that lasted 4 months, and I couldn't do it. I was like really depressed going through it. I was alone. I wasn't alone. I felt alone. And I think a hard thing for me was like, I think a hard thing to accept is like people are there for you, you know, the first couple weeks, but like people's life moves on. Like everybody's life moves on, but yours doesn't. Like you're still grieving, but you know, you see people going out partying, people doing that stuff, and I was just in such a different frame of mind. And it got to a point where like I would hear people complaining about shit, and I'm like, that's what you're complaining about? And it's so bad to think like that, because everybody goes through their own thing. Like, what is my worst thing that I went through? Someone else could have gone through something not as worse, but it's worse for them. Do you know what I mean?
Because they're the one who's experiencing it.
Exactly.
Right? And it's the ever famous, I'm here if you need anything, like don't hesitate.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're lying. It's not that they're not telling the truth. But they're not going to stop their lives.
And no, and you can't expect them to.
Yeah.
So I think that was really hard. And, you know, like, I think it forced me to mature a lot quicker, because I started to have to worry about certain things that, like, none of my other friends had to worry about. None of my other friends had been, or no one understood what I was going through.
Yeah.
Again, and I didn't expect no one else to understand that. So I think just like being at Laurier was hard. You know, I was away from my mom. I felt like I left her. My sister was home, but, you know, really close.
How much younger is your sister than you?
She's older.
Oh,
my sister's 2 years older. Yeah. So it was just like a really hard, you know, like adjusting to university, living on your own. But then also, like, I'm probably in like the worst state of my life, and I just hate it. And I remember it was Laurier homecoming, and I FaceTimed my mom, and I like just broke down. I was like, I can't do it. Like, I need to come home. Like, I'm not ready for this. So I left. She was like, girl, come home. Like, don't worry. You know, I wanted to be with her because, you know, I lost my dad, but she also lost her husband, you know, and like that's breaks my heart. Like that was the love of her life. So it's like we both lost people in different ways. So I moved home, and I was very like I just wasn't, again, I don't show it though. Like I kept it bottled up inside, which I think was the worst thing I did. And then I eventually got a therapist. Thank God. And I think that has helped a lot. And then at the same time, then me and my ex broke up, and I mentioned it earlier, I was personally going through, I had a lot to work on in the sense of like my state of mind just wasn't good. I think I would take a lot of stuff out on him through like just built up anger and resentment that I had about my dad, and because he was there, I think I would just like take it out on him, which isn't fair to him. And he never complained about it. Like he totally understood, but it was just like I need to figure my shit out, and I need to like talk to someone. I didn't see a therapist until me and my ex broke up. Or current, whatever.
You lost your outlet to get things out.
And I was like, okay, like it kind of pushed me. Like I needed it. I needed to see a therapist. Like
listen, I think anyone can benefit from a therapist regardless of what's going on in their life. But when you go through something like that, you would
definitely.
do quite well.
Because again, like it was to the point where like if anybody would talk about my dad, like I would leave the room. Like I didn't want to hear it. They'd show pictures, play videos, I'm out. Like I just didn't want to hear it because I was just so angry. Like my best friend was taken from me. Like, what did we do to deserve this?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's such a weird feeling because it's like there's nothing you can do. You can't bring them back.
No
like
control, full powerless.
And then my therapist, she told me that she's like, it's like you're not moving on, you're moving forward without them. And and it's one of those things like, you know, starting like moving downtown, like going to like Ryerson or TMU, whatever. Little things like little accomplishments that I've had since then that it's like you want to tell them and like you physically can't, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just frustrating, and I'm still grieving. Like,
of course,
it's still hard for me to talk about, like with my friend, like anyone. Like I
Yeah.
just, and like my best friend recently just lost her dad too. So like in, like I would say a month and a half ago.
Wow.
So seeing her go through that, and I'm the only one
Who gets it?
who understands, and I would never wish it upon anyone. And so seeing like my best friend go through that is just like, we were both just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
Why us?
what? Like
What do we do?
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So it's hard. And it brings back, you know, memories too. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Did I'm assuming anyways, your therapist gave you like practices of like things like you could try in your daily life to help you go through things?
Yeah, I'm a very avoidant person. So I would even avoid talking about him in therapy.
Hmm.
Even now, she's like, girl, like this is like,
It's been a while.
yeah, she's like, we keep veering away from it. Like,
Yeah.
we got to talk about it. I think I'm not one that meditate. Like, I don't meditate. I'm not like,
Spiritual.
yeah, like that's just like not me.
Sure.
But I think just working on like my avoidant personality.
So
Avoid.
like for example, when my therapist told me I had a fear of uncertainty, she told me at the time I was driving to school every day and I would take the same way to school every day.
Mhm.
She told me tomorrow, drive a different way to school, pick a different
Yeah.
route, just to spice things up a little bit to try to show your brain that just because you're not sure about how it's going to end up, it's still going to be fine.
Mhm.
So did your therapist like get you to do anything like that to help with the avoidance or anything, or any like homework that she gave you to?
She'd give me homework, like kind of just like write down how you're feeling, like start like journaling, like very basic things to start,
Right.
because I just was,
Yeah, of course. You're not gonna throw you in the deep end.
yeah, very basic things to start. Even she's like, look at a picture of your dad. Like, if you can look at a picture, great. Even if it's for like 0.5 seconds. So I can look at pictures now. I don't listen to videos because I think hearing his voice just makes my stomach drop. Like, but she's given me like I can't even give you an example, but she's given me like little practices to do. But I think I just have a fear, I think, of just losing people. Like, lost my dad, and then me and my ex broke up, and then a week later I got a dog during COVID. I had to give him away, and like my dog, like, just he ended up being aggressive. That's just a whole other story, but it's a little Frenchie.
Yeah.
And he brought me so much joy, and I had to give him away. He wasn't mean to me. He was aggressive towards other people. So I had to, he's with a lovely family now, but I had to give him away for the safety, or he was going to be put down. So that was another hard thing. Like, the one thing that just brought me so much joy, it was taken away from me again. And I know it's a dog, but it's a dog. Like, that was like my child, like, you know, and that was like a very like selfless decision that I had to make. I didn't want to get rid of him. Like, I could have kept him to myself, but so it was just like a lot at once.
Yeah. When my grandfather passed away, my mom wanted a dog, got the dog, and then 6 months later, give or take, she wanted to travel now. She kind of went through her grieving period. Me and my sister weren't around as much.
Yeah.
Now that dog lives with a very, very loving family that is not mine.
Yeah.
And you're right, dude. I got broken up with and lost my dog in the same week.
Yeah.
So
same. We broke up a week later. The family was gonna take the dog. So it was, and then I got a therapist after that. So
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, you get tired of losing things.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like, human beings are creatures of habit, patterns, and cycles and addictions, in the way of, we like seeing trends in things and being able to predict what's going to happen, because at one point in history it would suggest that if we were able to do those things, we would survive longer, reproduce, yada yada yada. So when things are habitually taken from us, when girls or guys repeatedly treat us the same way or whatever it is, we start thinking that that's just how things are.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything that any piece of information that I need to give to myself and maybe can give to you, is that the only reason that this cycle continues is because nothing changes.
Yeah.
All of the people in my life, and they've been very, very different circumstances to yours, of course, but all the people that I know that have ever told me, people always leave me. I always end up alone. Everyone in my life goes. I keep losing everyone, etc. They're right. They're 100% right. But they're not right because there's a mystical force in the universe that just keeps showing up and going, hey, fuck you, taking this away. It's because they have decided in their brains that they lose people, that that's what happens to them. So whether they mean to do it or not, their subconscious does things to people, and they make choices that will eventually result in pushing people away. It happens all the time. It happened to my best friend in the girl that I was best friends with in university. I told her, like, repeatedly, I was like, dude, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. But eventually, she just pushed me a little bit too far. It wasn't that I left. Is that she pushed me so far and ran away.
Yeah.
So it was what it was. I had a situation very, very recently who the person kept saying, like, no, it's not. Like, people leave. It's going to leave, blah, blah, blah. And they were right. But again, not because
of that person, but because of the person saying.
They already made a decision.
Yeah.
And again, it's not exactly the same thing with your situation, obviously, but it's less as I want to validate what you went through, obviously, but I want to remind you that there isn't anything against you. There's nothing in the world that wants to see that wants to see your downfall, wants to take things from you. You can keep whatever you want if you want to keep it.
Yeah, and I think that was such a hard thing to, like, come to terms with. Like, I think too, like, since my dad dying, I put up a very big wall and, like, harder exterior. Like, how many times have I been told, oh, like, I thought you were such a bitch, or you're such a bitch, or, you know, like, you're, like, the meaner one, or whatever. And it's just, like, I think I just know what...
Yeah, you're a big softie.
I'm like, I know what real pain is like, and I don't ever want to feel it again. So when I meet people, I don't meet them with open arms and, like, like, that's just, and I don't think it was me even before my dad, but I think since my dad, like, it's just not me. I'm trying to be better. I think working at Cactus, I've been better at it, but
I've even seen you, like, since we started till now, I've like when I would first see you at work, you'd be like, hi, and then just kind of, like, shuffle away.
Yeah.
Now, like, I see you chatting with people, like, you're smiling before I smile at you. Like, I have seen you open up more since I met you.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, because I'm just a very, I don't know, like, I don't meet people, like, with open arms. Like, I'm very closed off. Like, that's just how I am. And people will comment on my personality, but it's like, that's who I am. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's...
You never know what someone has going on.
Yeah.
And you can't judge someone based off of... I try to never judge someone's character based off of my first interaction with them.
Yeah.
I always give people a few chances. But the last thing that I want to end off on, then to stay on topic, but, like, pull out a little bit, is, do you think going back to earlier, do you think one of the reasons that it felt safe and comfy to go back to your man was because he was a big part of your life and understands what you went through?
I think so. That's not the sole reason. I think that's one of, like, the lower underlying reasons, because I think too, for me, like, before, it's like, I don't want to have to explain this to someone. Like, it's to the point where someone I worked with before was like, say hi to your dad for me, and I go, okay, I will. And they come up to me the next day and they were like, I'm so sorry, like, drew a blank, but like, why did you say you'll say hi to your dad? Like, why didn't you just say, hey, my dad died? And I'm like, because that's just not me. Like, I will avoid it at any point. So I think definitely that comfort of like, he was there, he knew my whole family. My dad loved him, like, so that plays a huge role. Like, and like my ex was also grieving the loss of my dad too. Like or current boyfriend. It's getting confusing. You know what I mean? Same person.
The guy who was and is in your life.
Yes, he loved my dad. My dad loved him. Like, that was really hard on him too. So it's like he totally understood what I was going through, as much as he could. And I think the comfort is definitely like a part. Like, I think he's one of the only people who have seen me for like 100% like who I am. Like, I can be like 150% myself around him. Good mood, bad mood. If I'm ever having, because there are bad days where I'm just like, my life sucks. Like, why is this my life? Like, you question it. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Like we were talking about earlier. And he never is like, snap out of it, or like, why are you in such a bad mood? Like, he just gets it.
Yeah. For everyone, and for you and for myself, and for whatever your situation is, trying to it is so easy. And and I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but something about saying why me feels a little good.
I know.
It's
like, why me?
It's, and not even in the way of like why me, but like in the way of like when you say why me, you acknowledge that A, it wasn't in your control, and B, you kind of take the blame off of yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people will fall into a trap of, this is what I deserve, and that gets scary. Because no one
deserves
full stop period deserves anything in life, good or bad.
Yeah.
And to claim anything else is just plain ignorance. But it's good that listen, you remember when you first started, I don't really want to say you first started talking to him again, but when I found out that you were talking to him again, and I gave you like heavy eyes, heavy judgment, I was like, Elizabeth, you don't do this.
Yeah.
As I've gotten to know you, and I've gotten to know your situation, and as I've heard things about him, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think I approve.
You're good with it.
I'm good with it, and you're a caveat to the rule, and I'm happy that you have a person like that in your life that
I'm very lucky,
that treats you the way that he does, because a lot of the things I talk about and I have talked about in different episodes will go to how shitty people can treat one another, especially in relationships. And it sounds to me like you guys really care for each other. Yeah. And that's, especially in our age demographic,
it's so hard.
It's hard to find. When you said you always find, or like he's one of the only people that I've ever seen like all of you, like the true you. I got a little bit not sad for you, but sad in general, because like, you know how I am, like at work and stuff, and I'll be goofy and singing songs and laughing and like, running around, whatever. But like, when I feel like I need to keep up that persona. Yeah. I'm not saying it's fake. It's me. It's part of you. It's part of me. But there are few people in my life that have ever gotten to see like I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I don't act vulnerable around most people in the way of like really pouring my heart out. And for the select few people that I've gotten to see that side of me, because my track record with dating when it comes to long-term relationships has been less than successful, I get into a loop of, they don't like the vulnerable me, just keep being the goofy asshole that everyone knows. And it's nice to remember that you're not the only one. Well, no, not even that, just, and I don't want to, like, I know I'm not gonna say that I don't know if you're gonna marry this guy. It
Mhm.
looks pretty good. You're going pretty well, but it's a nice reminder that, be it for the right one or for someone who really cares, every side of you is a good side. That's nice.
I think it's hard too. Like at work, nobody obviously knows my situation. Like I'm very private with my life, and I wouldn't just go around telling everyone, "Oh, my dad," like whatever. But I think that was one of the fears, like starting to work there, because I do have that. Like I'm more shy, and like I didn't want people at work to be like, "Oh, she's a bitch." Like that was such a like worry in my head. Like, oh, she doesn't talk. Like, oh, she's like a bitch. But it's like, no, I'm genuinely a ball of anxiety, and like I'm shy, and I'm just not
Yeah.
like a open
Book all the time.
person.
That's okay.
But you and John were like,
Yeah.
it was very hard at first because you and John were like making friends, and I remember saying you and John were like making friends with people, talking to people, and I was like, shoot, like I don't know if this is for me. Like I was like, I don't know, like it was really like harder for me, but better, obviously a lot better now. Like I love it. But yeah,
we're gonna do a karaoke night.
Yes, I'm down.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
with everybody.
I'm down.
Well, buddy,
Thanks
for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for chatting. Thanks for opening up. Thanks for breaking down the walls. Remember, guys, I didn't say this in any other episodes, but for the first 4 episodes, or first few, maybe a little bit more, we'll see, there's going to be no questions after, while I stockpile videos and then post consistently and stockpile questions. But if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Email me. There will be a link somewhere that you can hear all that fun stuff, that you can send me a message. Tell me who you would want me to talk to. What would you want me to talk about? Or find someone who is passionate about a topic. What's your favorite drink? What'd you think of Elizabeth? If Elizabeth wants me to, I'll put her information somewhere. This is my new tattoo, for the record. Elizabeth, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it. Thank you, everyone. This has been Philip with the Devil's Therapist podcast. And as always, peace and love. Good night.
Cheers.